Hello and welcome to the Shenmue the Animation After Show. I'm your host George, and with me is Barry.
Hey everybody, I'm really excited to review this. Thanks to our friends at Adult Swim and Crunchyroll for making this happen.
Well, yeah, they got the app and then they filmed the anyway. So we are finally done with the Wude, or the Wude if you're seeing the English dub on the video game. We finally got the barber one in this episode, so we're finally finished with that storyline. But this episode, episode 9, dedication, or it was a distinction. I forgot, it was one of those two words. This episode, actually tied in other stories. They're gonna, obviously be the next plot point to go to the next part. They're gonna leave Hong Kong, right? So we'll talk about some of that. I did some notes. Well, but first, what was your overall thoughts with this episode?
It was better than the last few. I'm glad they're wrapping up this Wude story arc. It's kind of dumbfounding how we spent four episodes on this, and we spent I think 5 episodes on Shenmue 1. So
it's crazy.
I don't want to be down on the anime, but a whole game is passed over in the same amount of time that Rio learns to put cups in a certain order. And I know there's more to it than that, but...
Well, and the first picture I have up is the cups. I was surprised that they literally just were that game mechanic? We're going to put it in the anime. They kind of glossed over it, right? He did it one time and got... Well, I guess...
Right.
What was your opinion on having this? Do you think they should have spent time on... I guess it is in the game, but should it be adapted to animation?
I think it should have been 2 episodes with 2 per episode, so he learns all 4 over the course of 2 episodes. And I think the Shenmue 1 should have had an additional episode or 2 added to it. That's my take.
I do wonder if a lot of fans actually have nostalgic feelings about the Wude, that little mission from 2,
yeah.
Because the thing I remember, years later, is always the building, you know what I mean? When you do all the fighting and stuff up to the building, and then meeting Shenhua for the first time. Those are the 2 big things that I remember, and hanging out with Ren. So I never really thought about the Wude. The mission for the Wude, my favorite in Shenmue 2,
Right.
So
right.
It's interesting. One complaint I had with this episode is that Ryu gets knocked out twice this episode, right? One in the beginning for putting the cups not in the right order, and then the second time for I think he was meeting Ren or something, or somebody found him or something, and they hit him, and then he got passed out, and then he woke up in some random location. What was your thoughts about doing it twice? I hate this trope in shows.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it taught him that the cups can, it's dangerous to put them in the wrong order, but that almost felt like a gameplay thing. If you got the wrong decision, it showed you what would happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was necessary.
Not for the cups. Maybe the second time they did it, maybe they could have gotten away with it, but doing it twice in one episode, I was wow, all right. You guys really like this trope. I hated it when I don't know if you ever seen the CW Smallville. I remember watching one season of it, and it's every character gets knocked out every episode. It was just oh, we don't need this character in the scene. Pow, hit him in the head. And it was on. So they did it on here. I thought that was something. We also got the picture of what's her name as Zane Wing. She showed her picture of her brother, which is exactly. I have a picture up on the screen right now, but it's exactly like the video game picture. They did it 1-to-1, which I like. But that's one thing this anime did right, is they literally just stuck to the video game designs usually. It's very rare that they changed it. I think Nozomi is an outlier.
Right. Yeah.
But hers is the concept art, so technically it's still like the video game. So, oh man. Move the screen. We had some more flashbacks with her, but nothing new. Just that her brother, I guess, Fang Li, or whatever her name is, the little girl, told some of the backstory that she was abandoned by her brother, but they haven't went all the way in yet. And I think this is one of the, they're kind of like saving it for the ending of the, I guess, getting closer to the ending of the season, I'm assuming. I don't know. But they're definitely saving it for a moment, maybe next episode. But we found I have his name up here somewhere. Zhang Gui Yu Kong, the guy that shows you the fourth Wude. This guy's the barber guy. They literally replicated him exactly like the obviously the video game. Only that in the video game, they had much more realistic faces, and like you said, the wrinkles, they always went like super overboard. I don't know what they did in the Dreamcast games. I'm assuming they did like painting textures with like hand painted textures to make the So
they did,
and they had a really unique look. Obviously, the anime is gonna be totally different, but I guess they put him here. I always felt like this story in this episode was kind of like the second story, like. Even though they've been building up the four Wude and finally coming to a conclusion, it felt like the other characters took the more of the spotlight in this episode. Like, this barber guy didn't even have a story, really.
Yeah, it was strange. I mean, there's some interesting characters in this, but I think when you compare them to like the Shenmue 1 characters, like there's no comparison outside of Joy and Ren. And maybe Wong, like I'm not really feeling it with the other characters.
And that's the thing though, like the characters that were more memorable this season was like Ren, Joy, and like Wong, like you said, and they could have like literally just made them side characters and focused on their helping Ryu and doing all this and having moments together. Instead, we have like this episode is partly dedicated to this Zhang Yu Kong guy that like. Nobody really remembers, really. Like, when you... Like, if you talk to a Shenmue fan today, they want to be talking... Oh, yeah, Zhang Yu Kong from the barbershop. Oh, I remember him. He's my favorite character.
Right.
So, that's why I think it's interesting that they just went, like, directly, like, the video game pacing. Like, they didn't try to, like, I guess, like, adapt it. Like, change stuff. Like, obviously, like, the Sonic movie that just is coming out isn't exactly like the video games one for one, They take liberties. Right. I'm surprised they didn't take that much liberties here. We also have this character with the suit. I have his name too up here somewhere, and I'll screw it up too. But what is it? Shu Quinn Zhang, the guy with the suit. This guy returns in Shenmue 3, and I have his picture of Shenmue 3 to compare the models. But
he's very cartoony.
He's very cartoony, very weird. I guess I don't understand this character. Like some Yu Suzuki likes this character or something because he's also in Shenmue 3, which is kind of rare. There's so many characters you'd think he'd bring back. What's your thoughts about this guy as a character and his anime adaptation? I thought it was fine. I think he's a minor character, so whatever.
Yeah, it's fine. I remember when he showed up in Shenmue 3 as DLC because they were saying like a character from Shenmue 2 returns, and you're like, who is it, Joy? And then they're like, it's this guy, and you go, oh, okay.
Why?
He's fine. I mean, I guess it'll give us more connective tissue maybe because we'll see him show up in the Shenmue 3 episodes once they make those, maybe. So.
Yeah, it's interesting that they brought him back. That's all. It's like there's so many characters. Like, oh, Tom, maybe? No. This is an interesting one. You were waiting for this one. Yuan, is that how you say her name?
Yeah. This is interesting.
She got adapted. Finally, had like actual speaking scenes in the American. I watched the American dub of this. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw the Japanese one, right?
Right.
Very flamboyant, right? Or am I wrong? Because it was very flamboyant in the American one.
Yes, very flamboyant.
Also looks more like a male because I felt like she had a softer, rounder face in the Shenmue 2 that I thought was just a woman, literally, like a tomboy woman. Well, here it looks like a man.
Yeah, in the anime they call Yuan a guy. So Ryo says, "Hey Ren, who exactly is that guy?" And I think in the English-speaking one too, they refer to Yuan as male, but I don't know if Yuan has referred to themselves as female yet, because in the games, it was in the American one, it was a male, just like a gay male, and then in the Japanese one, it was a trans woman, right?
I think so, yeah. And they she was like referred to as a woman, I think, right?
And she was referred to as she, and in a relationship with the big guy.
Yeah.
But it seems like here they're basically presenting Yuan as a very effeminate gay man, to the point of like humor again, which surprised me, because we've speculated in the past on our Sega Talks, like, you know, like if they made this today, would they do the jokey kind of like stereotypes of you know, like, oh, like running away and tripping? They totally did.
They literally did it. They literally did it in this episode. I was like, when I saw it, I was like, oh, even the English voice dub is very like feminine gay, and I was like, I'm surprised that this is still like a used stereotype. I'm not saying there is no feminine gay men out there or anything, but like the way they joke about it is kind of weird, you know? So I thought it was weird that they did this. I thought they were going to give him a more serious character, but so far, not really. But is that true to the video game, though?
It's true to the American version, but now the Japanese version is following the American version. So they've done away with the whole trans angle to the character, which was original to the Japanese version.
Yeah, and I guess I wonder what people think about this. They're like, you know, they know more about that. Like, I'm obviously not in that community, so like I really can't say like speak for that. But to me, it seemed kind of offensive a little bit, just a little bit. Like, I'm surprised, especially with today's culture, that they just went and did it. And I guess if people are okay with it, I mean, it is true to the character, like you said, the version of the character. So I wonder. We got more Rin in the end, and he's true to the character and everything, but I'm surprised at how much they're like saving Rin. Like, I thought they were gonna like plop him in pretty early to make him, you know, give him that buddy, that good boy and the scoundrel, like, you know, Luke Skywalker and Han Solo relationship, but they haven't really done that, right? Like, even in this episode, he was in the tail end of the episode. Like, they barely officially met. Yeah. Anything you want to say about Ren? Because this is the last slide I actually had to talk about.
I mean, I hope. I mean, I know that we'll be seeing more of Ren in future episodes, but yeah, it was. I don't know. I mean, do we have the handcuff part coming up, or are we past that? That's coming up, right?
I think so. I mean, we're barely done with the Wude. It's crazy though, because he still has to learn all this stuff, the backstory and all this to some other characters. Ren, they still haven't went to the Yellowhead building yet, so I'm wondering, are they even going to get to the Yellowhead building in that scene? Because I feel like they haven't even really built. They're barely building up the, what would they call, the Yellowhead gang. Like, we haven't really even like, I don't know, I just feel like we might end it before that even happens almost.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
All right then, so that's it for this after show of Shenmue the animation. What do you guys think about the new characters they introduced this episode? What about Yuan? What do you think about the way they represented them compared from the Japanese Shenmue game to the English one to the anime? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you guys on the next episode. Bye.